I'm Milena Bux. I'm an associate professor in sustainability economics and low carbon transitions at the University of Leeds, where I just moved to in September. So I'm actually part of the Southampton team, and I'm the social scientist in the team. So yeah, so I think in terms of what we've done in the project, that was really a lot inspired by what is to me, you know, one of the, I would say, core questions of livable cities, which is really about how can we move to a low carbon society whilst at the same time also maintaining people's well-being. So I think it's in the title of the whole project. And that certainly inspired a lot of the research that we've done in Southampton. And you can look at the relationship between energy use and well-being really in a two-way fashion. So well-being influences energy use because if people are better, you know, if they feel better, if they're healthier, so both subjective and objective well-being here, they will use energy in different ways. But it also works the other way around. So depending on how people use energy, both in their homes and how they travel, that again will influence their well-being. So in many ways, I think we looked at both of these directions of influence. So first of all, we did a householder study where we tracked around about 200 households and all of their participants or members, household members, over a couple of years. So we tracked their energy use both in their homes and how they travel. So we have the numbers of flights and how many miles they've driven and things like that in sort of 3 monthly intervals. And we also have data on their well-being. So we asked them a range of questions about their health and how satisfied they are with their lives and how happy they are. So we have different measures of well-being. And so in this project, we can literally investigate the relationships between their well-being and how that influences energy use. And we found some really interesting patterns there. So some things that we didn't expect actually, because you would maybe think that, you know, that energy use and well-being are related similarly across different areas of consumption, you could say. But what we found is that actually it differs a lot if you compare home energy use and energy use from travel. So, and actually once you make it clear to yourself, it's actually quite easy to understand. But people who are less healthy, they stick around at home more, so they use more energy if they're less well. And the opposite is true if people are well. So, you know, statistically significant was the finding that people who are healthier, they use less energy at home. But that relationship is exactly the opposite when you look at travel. So people who are healthier are more mobile, so therefore they drive more, and very, very importantly, they fly so much more. So their flights just go pretty much through the roof. Which it was interesting to see. So this has kind of interesting implications, because on the one hand it means if we improve people's well-being, that's good for home energy use, because people are outside of the home more and they need probably less heating. But it's not quite as easy, because also if people are well, that means they travel a lot and people's carbon footprints from travel are fairly high as well. So there seems to be a balance that needs to be made. And so we also looked at it the other way around in a book project, really, where I've been working together with a colleague from Lund University. He's called Max Koch, and we've been writing, nearly finished now, a book called Post-Growth and Wellbeing. And there we really look at it kind of almost the other way around. So we ask the question, you know, is it possible to reduce energy use, which would probably go along with reducing economic growth, and at the same time maintaining people's well-being. And there have been lots of claims in the literature to say, yes, that should be possible because people can be happy and so on with less material consumption. And we've just been investigating some of these arguments in a bit more depth and have been looking at historical data on what happens, for example, in recessions when social institutions get interrupted and sometimes even collapse and things like that. And very often well-being dramatically drops in these kinds of circumstances. So these give us, warning signs, I would say, about what we would need to do to support people's well-being if, let's assume, just as an example, if governments across the world decided to, introduce a carbon cap, so a cap on carbon emissions that applies to all the countries, and people would have to reduce their energy use. So we would really have to have really good infrastructures and policies in place to ensure that people's well-being can be maintained. The research we've done really shows that there's need for more collaboration between social scientists and engineers, because the engineers would then have to come in to basically develop all the low carbon technologies and so on that are required, to maintain people's well-being in circumstances where maybe energy is less available or there are caps on our energy use.